Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste. I'm so excited to have a cosmic conversation today with Narayana. Let's see, the Instagram is thinking. Here we go. Hey, D. Tuggle, so nice to see you, and Catherine. I hope you're having a beautiful Thursday. Yes, I do. I'm having a cosmic conversation. Hi, Mary and Laughing Willow and Kill Jelly. Oh, what an interesting handle. Let me see if I can invite Narayana. Let's see. Narayana. Well, come on up, Narayana. Here we are. Let me accept. Yay! It worked the first time. It's almost never does.
Yay! How are you, friend?
I'm good. It's so good to see you. It's been too long. I've been
I know.
just working myself into crazy.
Well, you know, your son Saturn, it's like you're built for this. So I get it.
I am. But I'm trying to make more space in my life. So we'll see how it goes.
It's nice to see you.
It's good to see you too. Why don't you introduce yourself to anyone who doesn't know you?
Yes. So I am Narayana Montúfar. I am an astrologer, artist, author who finds inspiration in the symbolic language of astrology. Um, I have been working in this field full time since 2011. I came through media. So I've been creating content about astrology for a really long time. You know, I started as an editor, and then kind of like it happened to you, astrology just took over my life, and here I am. I published my first book, Moon Signs, which you have. Oh, yay!
A beautiful book about the moon. You know, I love the moon, and this is a wonderful book. So I will put a link to it in the notes when we're
Oh,
done.
thank you. Yeah, it's a book for beginners, so
Mhm.
it was built for that. And then my second book, it's written in your stars.
That
I have it right here,
how
and
beautiful.
thank you. Yeah, I'm very proud of it. It's really pretty. I'll show a little bit more of the pages inside of the art. It's coming out on July 8th. I did not choose that day, but it's literally the day before Jupiter in Cancer. So crazy. It just happened. And I'm just really excited because this is the book that I wanted to have um, when I was studying astrology and even when I started practicing, because it just makes it easy to understand the cycles of the planets, which are so important, and how they affect you.
Absolutely. It is something that can give people so much understanding of because it's focused on outer planet cycles, right?
Actually, well, that was the original
Mhm.
focus. You know, it was outer planets, but then I included the inner planets
Ah,
to make it more complete.
mhm.
And what I did is that, and we're going to talk about that, but what I did is I actually built a calculator for it. Well, I didn't do it. I worked with somebody. Well, let me rephrase that, because I feel like I should say that my husband, if I hadn't married an engineer, sometimes I wouldn't be able to do things. So I worked with two engineers to make a calculator that will help you figure out all these cycles, right?
Ooh,
So it's part of that book. I'm really excited about it because I think it's a big part of it. So when you get the book and then you put the calculator in your birth time, it gives you like the range of activation, like for example, Saturn return, Chiron square, and specific dates. So I'm really proud of that because it wasn't an easy task.
I bet.
um
That's really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty at some point, I mean, the process of creating a book is so complicated. So, the tech, which I'm not great at, I'm getting better at, but was so complicated that I was this close to give up on the calculator. I was just like, oh, that's it. I'm done with this. I love engineers, but they have their minds work differently than ours. But we made it happen, and I'm really excited that because like you'll be able to figure out, if you have the book and the calculator, you'll be able to figure out when's your next Venus return or when's your next Mars opposition, and we all know that we need to know those things because all of a sudden it's like, oh, I wish I had known that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
before I did X, Y, and Z, or you know how it goes.
Yes, yeah. So why don't we go through each of the, since you're doing all the planets, maybe quickly through the inner planets before we get to the outer planets.
Sure.
But why don't you say just a quick couple words about each of the cycles, like the sun cycle and the Mercury, Venus, Mars?
Well, like for example, with the sun cycle, that one's really important. It's a little bit more predictable, but it's really nice to know because obviously it starts on your birthday. Every time you have your birthday's coming up,
Just
right?
Saturday. So yay! I'm so ready for the reboot.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, because I know you're a Taurus.
Yeah.
And so your birthday, that's why a lot of astrologers offer solar return readings, because it's on your birthday. The sun goes back to the exact same position you were born. Sometimes it's like a day off, and 1 or 2 days off, one day off. But so that's the beginning of your cycle. And then you have the sun moving into, I even have the illustrations here, but I'll probably show you one at some point. But the sun just moves kind of like that for a whole year. And so you're going to know when the sun is in a friendly position to your sun and when it's not. And so that's really helpful because it allows you to figure out when to do things, when to focus on things, when to take a break, when to push forward. And when you're feeling really tired, like right before your birthday, people feel really off. They're like, I don't know why, but I'm so tired. And all of that, because like you're about to restart that cycle. So it's kind of like the little window of darkness right before that, right? Like the waning sun. And so yeah, I really love that. Here I'm actually gonna show you, because that is kind of like one of the way that I organized the book is that I started with the outer planets first, because it's not that the inner planets aren't important, but I just consider that the bigger, the outer planet cycles are more transformative. So for example, this is the illustration of the sun cycle. Mm-hmm. I'm a very visual person. Apparently I didn't communicate I didn't think I was going to use so many illustrations, but I'm very visual.
I think it helps because different people learn different ways. For some people reading it, for some just seeing it, for some both, bring it all together.
Exactly. I'm that type of person I have a big imagination, so apparently I didn't tell my editor that I was going to use so many illustrations, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa. But anyway, so that's the illustration of the sun, you see. So even though everybody has the sun in a different place, you kind of figure out when you're going to have your sun opposition, your trine, your sextile, and all of that. So it's a really good book for someone that's going a little beyond, but it's also it's good for anyone that just wants to plan their life.
Well, let's just start with talking about the sun, because I think most people can identify with what that means. Mm-hmm. And so when you have your birthday, the sun in the sky, this transiting sun is conjunct, so fuses with the energy of your natal sun. So and the sun rules life and vitality and
It's like a
creativity. So
reinvigoration,
yeah,
Uh-huh.
so you get this like little mini rebirth every solar return that
Yeah.
restarts this year-long cycle. Yes, and then what do you put in the book? Do you wait till the sextile to talk about that opening sextile to talk about
Yeah, so
think give
basically
guidance for
what I do is what I'm doing is that, well, obviously I also list the sun in all the signs,
mm-hmm,
right? Just because I think that what's the best part about working with your chart is that you can track the story of that like your
mm-hmm,
relationship with that planet, right?
mm-hmm,
So it's like we all have different relationships with our sun sign.
mm-hmm.
For example, some of us receive blessings on our birthdays. Some of us, that's not the greatest time. If you have your sun square Saturn or something like that, but you can pin that out. Yes, in the book, what I do is I go over like the sextile, the full cycle, the sextile, the square, the trine, the opposition, all the waxing and then all the waning,
Uh-huh.
right? Because it's not the same thing to have the waxing square that the waning square.
Yes. Well, I am going to have to get a copy of this book from you
I'm gonna
because
get you one. I'm gonna give,
who
but
knows? It might show up on my syllabus as a suggested reading for my students. I think this book isn't really out there, so I think it's going to be
thank
really
you for saying that. Thank you for
helpful.
saying that. That was exactly my point, because I even had conversations with astrologers. I said, we get a book that tells us like where our client is? Like, we need this. How come nobody has done it?
Yes.
Um, and so I'm gonna give you one, but the condition is that you're gonna come and have a drink with me.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been too long. Well, I don't drink alcohol anymore, so it's going to be a
Oh,
non-alcoholic
wow.
drink.
Okay, okay. Well, you can have a mocktail.
I'll have a mocktail. Yes.
Cool. So yeah, so it's all of that, it's tracking basically, and that's why the calculator is there to show you. You're gonna have your sun square or your opposition during these days, and it's exact on this day.
Yes. What do you tell people to look at for your sun square, where the sun is in the same mode? So I'm a Taurus. So when Leo season comes, the sun is squaring my natal sun, and so there's the tension. And what do you say about that?
Yeah, I didn't say signs because
Uh-huh.
it's different for everybody,
Yeah, yeah,
you
but
know.
just the sun
Yeah, I
square.
just said, like, in like every three and a, every three and a, three every 3 months,
Yeah.
you're gonna have that. And so I try to make it like as understandable as possible, but
Yeah.
that's what I say, and like this is a time when you're probably, I wouldn't launch a project. I would, because the visibility is like, because the sun rules visibility. And I started every single chapter with the keywords for every
Uh-huh.
planet, um, because I think that's like really important. I have a lot of examples of charts. And this was tricky, Celeste, to be honest, because, the sun and the moon and Venus and Mars are more predictable. But I think that my hardest chapter was Chiron.
Ah.
Pluto and Chiron were difficult.
Okay, so tell people about Chiron. What are you talking about the Chiron
Well,
cycle?
it's crazy because Chiron is not a planet.
Yeah,
And
but it's really important.
oh my God,
I think.
I think I would say maybe I'm obsessed with Chiron, but I would say it's the most important to pay attention to, because it's how you heal your shadow, how you heal your wound, and how you alchemize it into power. And
Mm-hmm.
but Chiron has an irregular orbit. So
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty crazy. For example, here I actually have sorry, my computer turned off. What I'm also really proud of here is that I built well, let me rephrase that. My husband, Alex, built, because I think I need to give him credit, right? It's like I can't take credit for what he did. It was his idea because he's an aerospace engineer. So I was like, okay, help me understand this, you know. I needed a little bit of help in the sense to just wrap around my mind about, um, Chiron's orbit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Ah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
this book is going to be so helpful to people. I
yeah,
could,
it's
yes.
the orbit is bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder why we call it the Rainbow Bridge, right? Because the
Mm-hmm.
it orbits between Saturn and Uranus. Barbara Handclough, one of my favorite astrologers, calls it Chiron the Rainbow Bridge because it's
Yes.
like the bridge between the visible and the invisible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obsessed with Chiron in a major way.
Where do you have, so what sign
I
do you
have
have Chiron in?
Chiron conjunct my ascendant
Oh, no wonder you're obsessed with it. Okay, I have Chiron conjunct my midheaven, so
in
I really
Taurus.
love. Yeah,
So,
I have
and
no, I have it in Aries. You have it in Taurus. Right.
no,
Okay.
but like anyway, I could nerd out about this forever. But Chiron was discovered when he was in Taurus.
Ah, okay.
Basically, I think it's 1970. I talk about that here in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I have Chiron. Literally, I was born in 79.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have the return of Chiron's discovery as soon as it enters Taurus. So that's going to be major because, as you know, when we discover planets, in which sign they were at that time, that kind of marks a really important moment for humanity because we only discover planets when our psyche is ready for it,
Mm-hmm.
and when the collective psyche. And so Chiron's discovery is going to have its own return pretty soon.
Very
Um,
cool.
but anyway, what I wanted to show you, let me see where this is at here. Sorry,
Take your time. I'll see if there are any questions. Let's
oh yeah,
see.
drop your questions, please.
Yeah, yeah. If you have any questions, please
Yeah,
drop them.
so this is the timeline
Ah,
that my husband created to, again, to bring visuals, right? So if you can see, these are all the pretty regular planets,
yes.
right? They seem pretty regular. And look at Chiron. It's like so crazy.
Ah,
He's,
okay. Yes.
because it's an irregular orbit, like you can have the return is the same, right? Everybody has their Chiron return, one of the most important moments in life between 50 and 51. But the sextile can happen between your 2 and 16 years old. The square can happen between the first one, the waxing 5 and 23. The other one between the ages 27 to 44.
Mm.
Like that's kind of
So it's a
crazy.
very irregular
Very
for.
irregular. It's very irregular. So, but it's all here because I remember, when anytime you have a Chiron activation, it's like you're gonna do some deep healing in your life. You're kind of forced to. It's not like an option. And I remember even the sextile was a little intense for me. I think that's when I started doing Reiki.
Mm.
It's kind of like the gateway into my healing, my healing. So and then Pluto, as you know, it's also irregular. It's not as irregular as
Yeah.
Chiron's, but
Well, I would say my Chiron, I've had a lot of Chiron last year because Chiron was over my moon, and then
oof,
what else happened? But anyway, I had some deeply, deeply, deeply things that Chiron wounds and heals. So there was things that were very painful, but led ultimately to deep healing. That's what I often find with Chiron. Um,
100%. I have my progress moon passing. I have my progress moon chasing Chiron right now. So
mm,
it's been a lot of deep healing.
yeah,
I think I, I
shadow
think I
work.
have a long way with that. So trying to work through it. Mhm.
Absolutely, yeah. And what about, so yeah, Chiron and Pluto have irregular orbits. So, it's not the same age for everyone.
Yeah,
But I love talking to people about Saturn cycles
no.
because they are one of the most important cycles, and they're so regular. I mean,
Very
Saturn
regular.
checks in with us every 7 years, and the Saturn returns most people have heard of because they're such important such important times. Oh, Mary is saying Pluto is conjunct your natal Chiron now. It
Wow.
will retrograde when it's exact. So you are going to get some really big uh, opportunity for deep, deep healing. Are
Oh
you
my God.
feeling it, Mary?
That is a really intense combination. I know that because Chiron was opposing my Pluto.
Mm.
It's really intense, but it's like a little dark night of the soul, but it's so potent because you get so much depth into your psyche.
Mm.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I work with Chiron a lot because I'm a mini Chiron with feet, basically. So yeah, I did like I think I did a 4 hour hypnosis session yesterday.
Ah.
And all of those things, you know, trying to find what's hidden in the back. That's what Chiron rules, and Pluto as well.
Yeah.
Everything, it's a scrapping from the inside out.
Yes, this is a great comment from Veronica. Her natal Chiron is in Gemini in the 12th,
Ooh.
and so it's kind of hidden there in the 12th. So they know very little about Chiron. Is that because it's in the 12th? What would you say that they should look
I,
out for in terms of
I,
what do you think Chiron means to them? And
oh
yeah.
yeah, in the 12 is it's definitely hidden, but it's very important because basically there's a lot of hidden material that you can only access through your subconscious mind. So it's almost like taking a dive underneath the iceberg to see what's down there in this cold water.
Mm.
And but if you're able to unlock it, I mean, I think that when you have that, you have a lot of wounds from your past lives
Mm.
because that's the 12th house. The 12th house is
Mm.
like the past, and it's an invitation to heal that because once you can, if you make the unconscious conscious, you you can crush so many insecurities that are not even from this lifetime.
Mm.
You know, I do a lot of work with the Akashic records, and there's a lot of how 12th house
Mm-hmm.
relationship with that because the ascendant is the birth point, and so the 12th house is that past lives, what you don't see, what's stored in the psyche, what comes out only during hypnosis or psychedelics or like um, deep spiritual work.
Mm. And I wonder if there's something about communication or speaking up.
Oh,
And if you hold yourself
100%.
back, Veronica, or a story about siblings, is there?
100%. Then the throat chakra, there's some blockages around. I've read for a lot of people with Chiron in Gemini because a lot really long generation had that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I've seen a lot of I think it was when Uranus was in Saturn. I mean, Uranus was in Saturn. Uranus was in
Mm-hmm.
Sagittarius. So they opposed for a really long time.
Yeah.
And there's also, I don't know if she has that, but I've definitely seen a lot of charts with that combination. And, you know, there's this inability to speak up because you're going to think that you're not going to fit in or that you're too like crazy or wacky for your generation, you know? So definitely a lot of throat chakra work that needs to happen. With that, I would say that it's super important to do a lot of like, somebody was telling me about that, the artist way.
Oh,
When you wake up
yes.
and write 3 pages, I
Yeah.
would say that would be a really good practice for that because you don't want to be conscious about what you're writing, right? You just want to be like, as soon as you wake up and you're kind of like, oh, and then you can access things because, you know, writing is a window to the soul. But specifically with this combination, I would say that that would be an important practice.
Ah, That's great advice. Yeah.
Mhm.
So consider that, Veronica, checking out the Artist's Way and looking at doing the morning pages. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
great.
See,
Yeah.
yes, she has that opposition. So that I read for a ton of people that have that.
Mm, yeah. And so you're coming up on your Uranus opposition. Yeah. Uranus and
Oh yeah.
Gemini will be her Uranus
Yes,
opposition.
get my book if you want to know exactly when it's happening. I just came out of that. Whoa. Whoa. Wow. It was wild. I gotta say, probably the wildest.
Is your sun near Uranus?
Yeah. But not only that, I have, my three are square, are
Ah,
fixed.
yeah.
So I first had it going to my first house. Then I had it opposing my sun. Then I had it opposing my natal Uranus. And now it's squaring Mars.
Oh, wow.
So it's been like incredibly exciting, but pretty crazy at the same time. I gotta say, I'm really happy that I knew that I had astrology to guide me. But it is
Mm-hmm.
also when I became psychic, when I started doing all this Akashic Records work.
Ah,
So
very, very
anyway, in my book, I give really specific practices, kind of like the one that I just explained to her.
okay.
Like on how to handle like very specific things and practical advice into what you do when you have your Uranus opposition. What to expect, how to manage that, um, and with all the Saturn, because people need specific advice. They need like
Yes.
not to tell you do this and not do that, but it's like, well, this can help. Um, I love my Uranus opposition. I gotta say, I'm really ready for Uranus to leave Taurus, but that's when like my intuition just took off.
Ah, yes. Absolutely, especially since it's near your sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Rosie says transiting Chiron is conjunct Mars. Oh, yeah. Transiting
Oh
Chiron
wow.
conjunct Mars. Ah,
Transiting Chiron conjunct Mars. Okay. No, transiting Chiron is conjunct my Mars in the fifth.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So probably dating and all of that, or romance.
Yeah.
And Uranus is transiting conjunct my natal Chiron. Okay. I've noticed that happens a lot. Have you noticed that?
When you
More or
have like
less, like
the kind of
like
two,
double.
like you get a double dose of the energy of that planet, and then it can really unlock some things about healing. I feel like I'm getting like healing the fact that you're like you're different in some way, or how you take action, that or self-express yourself.
Your masculine energy, with
Mm-hmm.
Mars. I mean, Mars transits are never easy, but they're necessary. We just came out of this disastrous Mars retrograde.
Oh
Um,
my God.
oh my gosh, it's like what? It's,
That was so chaotic. I mean, it
that was
still
so
feels
bad.
chaotic.
That was so bad. I mean, anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but they're, looking back, it was the push. It was a super push to evolve your Mars energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. So Patty's saying first house. Oh, lots of people having Chiron. Chiron transiting 2 degrees from Patty's sun and Mercury. And
mm.
Chiron and Aries. So you're doing your whole Chiron return and everything.
Oh wow.
That's images I see is Patty. So really big. Notice the healing. Notice what comes to your conscious attention, especially about Chiron and Aries. Thinking about how we can, because Chiron's a wounded healer, maybe even some self sabotage could be a topic that comes up for you for healing, for recognition. There
For
may be a
leadership,
little leadership, yeah. Mm-hmm.
because I mean the great news is the sun is exalted in Aries, so you already have a strong sun. I don't know what it is, what it's connected to, but the sun is exalted in Aries, so something about your visibility, your leadership. And if the Mercury is there, it's how do you communicate your leadership? How do you, and there's also something around masculine energy because it's Aries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we just had these all these
Well,
eclipses there.
Patty's working on an oracle deck, so
Wow.
that may be really infusing some messages in the what she's working on. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love oracle decks.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Yeah. Okay. Ah, wonderful. Okay, let's do another. Well, you brought up Uranus, so I think this is a let's talk about Uranus and Saturn because they're going to change signs really
Oh yeah,
soon.
yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah. So what are anything you're thinking about Saturn going into Aries and what, let's say, people who have Saturn in Libra are going to be experiencing their Saturn opposition over the next 2.5 years. People who have Saturn in Aries are getting their Saturn return is coming.
I
If
know. It's like, yeah, and sorry for getting so off topic. It's like I forget that there are other people here, but it's just so nice to talk to you after a while. But yeah, so basically I actually just have the dates here because I was
oh
doing
yeah,
some research on that. So basically anybody that was born um between March and April of 1969, and no, between March of 1967 to June of 1998 will have their second, right? And then anyone that was born kind of be the date, because of the retrograde,
yeah,
the dates are kind of funky,
uh-huh,
but basically 1996 to 1999
mm-hmm.
are going to get their first Saturn return.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have Saturn in Libra, you will get your Saturn opposition. And if you have Saturn in any of the other two cardinal signs, which are Cancer and Capricorn, you'll get the square.
Yeah.
So I
Mm-hmm.
would say, oh my God. So the thing is about why is the Saturn return so popular? It's because it's a massive turning point in your life. And I invite people to think in a little bit more of a long term, because we have a tendency to think that the Saturn return just happened and it's over.
Exactly. No, it's
Not
a
like that.
it's not a
There's a whole,
day, it's a
it's
cycle.
a
Yeah.
cycle. So, you track the 30-year cycle,
Yeah.
and that's how the story develops.
Yeah.
Um, and you're going to see highlights of the story, especially in the squares,
Mm-hmm.
right, Celeste? And
Yes.
then I just wrapped up my Saturn opposition,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I think it's this book.
Your Saturn opposition. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So talk
Mm-hmm.
about Saturn return. So Saturn return, when Saturn, the planet of structure, karma, boundaries, earned success. What are some other Saturn words you use?
Foundation,
Uh,
responsibility. I always talk about Saturn being the celestial auditor, right? So
yes.
it's like knock 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 knock. Who this? It's Saturn. This grumpy old man, you know, knocking at your door, and you're like, oh, okay, here's the auditor. And it's just like, that's how I explain it to my clients. It's like, well, did you pay your bills? Check. Did you pay your taxes? Check. For how long has that bulb been broken? Not check. It's like, it's like, get your act together. A lot of people get married during their Saturn return. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people become parents. A lot of people get the the Saturn voice. I'm like, grumpy old man. I mean, that's how it feels,
Yeah,
right?
Saturn.
It's
Someone.
cold. It's a cold energy. It's really interesting. When you have any Saturn activations, it just feels like somebody turned off the heat. It's like, I'm cold. It's like It's this cold type of energy. For me, it's really interesting because I had kind of downplayed my Saturn return.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I have Saturn in Virgo, trying to make heaven. It's okay. It was fine. And an editor assigned me an essay on my Saturn return. I'm 45 now, so it was a while ago.
Yeah,
And when
it
I
happens at
looked,
29
right,
approximately. Yeah.
29,
Yeah.
30, yeah, around this time, I realized how big it was for me. So it's like it's a story that develops over time.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Saturn return,
Yeah. And
it's
that, let me
massively
talk about
important.
mine a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I first started learning about it, I was like, oh yeah, at 29, I bought my first house and I didn't want to because I didn't want the responsibility or the financial burden, but I did it. I have Saturn in the 11th,
Okay.
and friends kept pushing me. You really should. You really should. So I did it. I'm forever thankful for the guidance. But it was also this big thing about because Saturn, I feel like it's like you move from younger adulthood to adulthood. And around that time, I was having lots of fun, going out every weekend, doing all this stuff. And I realized that that was not what I wanted to be doing anymore. Like I wanted to
Mhm.
have more seriousness in my life or like relationships that were more mm, I bet
Fulfilling. Were
fulfilling.
you?
That's the word.
Mhm,
Yeah, yeah.
mhm.
So it was like this big unfolding. It wasn't just that one thing. It's not just you get the big new job or you get a promotion or this, that, and the other thing, or have a health issue and have to, go through that or become a parent. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a really
there's
big.
always something, right?
Yeah.
There's always something. Um, and it all relates to your connection with Saturn,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like for you, that you getting your house is like building a foundation for your life, for your finances. Because at the end of the day, when you get a house, you start building equity.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. And I have
um,
Saturn and Taurus. So it's like literally, it was so literal taking on this financial responsibility.
and it's conjunct your sun, so it's really
Hmm.
important for you. Mhm.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
got divorced in my Saturn return.
Ah.
A lot of
Hmm.
people get married, but I did the opposite.
Hmm. Oh, well, divorce, that's Saturn separates.
Separates. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the whole thing is just really bizarre, because I had married somebody that was older than me.
Hmm.
So it was like a Saturn thing too. And I was just like, well, I'm not happy. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I think Saturn has a bad rep, and yes, Saturn is not an easy planet, but it also helps you build the foundations of your life. If you don't have Saturn, you don't have anything pushing you to become better, to like
Hmm.
work for your future. Like anytime you have a Saturn transit, you kind of, and then I talk about that in the book, is like you need to understand that the gifts, whether they're material, spiritual, or anything, they're not going to come right away.
Hmm.
You're working towards your future,
Hmm.
right? So it's like no immediate gratification here.
It's
Like
not
this is the
Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Jupiter. It's not the Jupiter blessing that all of a sudden you're invited to do this or you that feels more like in your lap luck, whereas
Yeah.
Saturn is like, oh, you got to really push for it, work for it, earn it.
Yeah. So it's good to know when those times are going to come, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I think that some people think like it's better not to know. I'm all about knowing, because I think something switches in your mind when you know. It's like click, I don't know what it is. I'm still trying to figure it out, but it's a click.
Well,
Okay.
you recognize what the purpose is of what you're going through, or it gives you a clock to be looking for things. Like I have Saturn's going to meet my midheaven next year, and so I know that's like a pinnacle of work. And what do I want to achieve by then? And
Totally.
I know there's gonna be hard work involved. So,
Oh, 100%.
mhm.
I mean, when I remember that crazy 2020 conjunction,
Yes.
obviously, that's when I got my first book deal.
Ah, with Saturn Pluto?
Yeah, because I have 25 Capricorn.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So, but it's really interesting when you know that something's going to happen and you see the story starting to evolve and evolve,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Ah,
And so you focus on that story and on developing it and on like molding it as much as you can
yeah.
towards what you want to the outcome to be,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure you're going to be launching all these courses and things like that. Like I can just see what you're going to be doing, because that's your focus.
Yes. Yeah, I need to get my act together and get my next course.
I feel like you're always doing something.
I am, but
You know, my husband, because
with
my husband's like, sounds like Celeste is always working. Um, I think it's because your boyfriend told him something about that, and I said like it makes sense for her. She has Saturn conjunct her sun,
it,
like that makes sense.
it
Astrology
it
can be
does.
so helpful.
Yes, understanding your natal promise is really helpful for you. Oh, so Laughing Willow has Sun square Saturn.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Well,
it's that's a,
that's my Saturn in fifth and a half sun in
so
Aquarius.
anytime you're having a really good time, you start to feel guilty. Is that how it shows up, Laughing Willow?
Wow, and the Saturn conjunct Pluto. Ooh, that's a pretty intense one too.
Mm-hmm. Probably I wonder, Rosie, is it in Libra?
Oh, but that's awesome though
Yeah.
because Saturn in Libra, I love actually.
It's exalted in Libra, so that's a good Saturn placement.
Yeah, I
Uh,
love that. I mean, not to be negative, but I gotta say, I have to say this because after reading so many charts, like your Saturn placement is something you need to work with in life. Like it's so important. And if you have Saturn in fall or Saturn in detriment or something like that, specifically, it's super
mhm.
important to work with Saturn.
Yes, so if you have Saturn in Cancer or Aries, which we're getting ready to come up to, what are some of the things you're expecting to see with Saturn and Aries?
Well, the thing is like with this situation, with Neptune being involved, it's like I'm already seeing like a lot of people just kind of like wake up from this hypnosis, like because Neptune in Pisces was so like I'm ready to see some people be like waking up from their cults. This is when the cult leader gets unseated, or this is when a lot of people that were just kind of, I mean, the mutable signs in particular. I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of people, family members and friends with a lot of mutable that were just hypnotized into this belief system or whatever. And with Saturn passing through that and entering Aries, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's massive because, like,
Snapping back. Well, I called Neptune and Aries pop the balloon. Like for everyone, no matter who you are, there's something that you believed or thought was real, and the illusion has been shattered in some
oh,
way.
right. And I think it will continue because
Yeah.
remember that they're going to retrograde into Pisces, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
So it's like, talk about the rose colored glasses coming off. And yes, everybody, but also the fact that it's happening at the end of the zodiac and the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, it just feels like a completely new way. Uh, I'm gonna write a blog about it, but when I was doing the Akashic records, all of this stuff came through, and it's like a new human type of,
Mm.
because it's like if it was happening in any other part of the zodiac, Celeste, but it's happening in the 29 Pisces first degree, the conjunction. It's like, it just feels like this huge inauguration of for everybody. You're right. For
A
everybody.
huge what? What was the
Like
word you
an
used?
inauguration, kind of like this, bam, this super intense beginning. Because like, don't forget, right, that like in this case Saturn is starting in the zodiac, but and that's kind of rare because Saturn hasn't been there for, again, 29-30 years or whatever, but Neptune is 165-year cycle.
Yeah. It's the Saturn Neptune in Aries. Well, we're seeing it like literally with fires,
Yeah,
fires all over the world that are
100%. Yeah,
causing
like,
big problems. But
yeah.
like Kamala Harris said something yesterday. She was she's back, and she said that it's not just fear that's contagious, it's courage that's contagious. And I feel like that's the Neptune
Mm.
and Aries energy, is like people being glamorized for being courageous, especially in times where
Oh,
there's so
I
much,
love that. I love that. Yeah.
yeah, when there's so much fear
When there's
abounding.
so much fear. Yeah. I mean, I do think it's a leadership reset for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're gonna follow our dreams. I mean, the reality is, it's really interesting because we glamorize Neptune in Pisces a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it felt kind of like a lazy combination. It's like too much. It's like too much talking and not enough doing. Too much
Mm-hmm.
talk, not enough action. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm particularly excited about the arts because Neptune rules that. So I'm just already going. I went to this exhibit that just felt so transitional.
Uh-huh.
It was this balloon exhibit. It was kind of like pop art, and it just felt so transitional. There was these balloons that everything was very ethereal and la 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 la, and then the next one's like, wow, super colorful, super intense, and I was like, oh my god, this is Neptune in Pisces and Neptune in Aries, 100%. Like, there's just these, like, the arts are just gonna get more exciting. There's more action around, more colorful, like new ideas. I mean, I think that's kind of the most positive, but and I see that people are setting boundaries more. Like, people have more sass. That's what I've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because Neptune in Pisces has no boundaries, and in
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Aries is like, this is where it is.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm excited because I have a lot of mutable, and I've just had Neptune squaring everything for the past 14 years too.
Oh, so you're thrilled. Neptune's out of
I'm thrilled. I'm
out of fight.
thrilled because I have, Virgo stellium, Sagittarius stellium.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so people have Neptune in Cancer, though, or getting their Neptune square. What do you talk to people about with their Neptune square?
Yes. Okay. So I'll give you the dates. So the Neptune square happens between, I want it to be really inclusive. So I did a lot of
Yeah.
research, between 39 and 44.
Mm-hmm.
It's some confusing time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when that happened. It's like, it's very disorienting
Yeah.
because you've never experienced that before. You only experience it once in your life, basically. Well,
Mm-hmm.
is that, yeah, right? Because you can only get your if you live long enough, you can have like the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
But the square is so important. It's part of the midlife crisis aspects.
Yes. Yeah, where really like you're not sure where you're going, you're not sure where you've
What am
come
I
from.
doing? What am
Yeah.
I doing and why?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like um, the Neptune square is, I would say, one of the most important cycle activations to put
Mm-hmm.
attention to, because when you have it, it's almost like there's a lot of surrender that is being required from you at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're not going to figure it all out. And it can be a very spiritual time. But if you're not aware that you're having it, you could end up making some mistakes, like you're in your little cloud here, and Neptune in Aries is like, it's more
Yeah.
extreme, I think. Nobody's seen it before, but what I'm thinking about is that Neptune in Pisces is like, sometimes you didn't even know that you're like in your own little bubble, right? Because it's like, ooh. But with Neptune in Aries, the fall can be bigger because it's Mars.
Yeah.
It's like you can feel like, oh my God, I'm like flying so high. And then all of a sudden, bam, you're not. It's Mars energy.
Yeah.
So it's more intense. That's how I'm thinking. So I'm glad that I already experienced it.
Yes. Yeah, me too. It was a confusing time for me. Absolutely.
What was happening for you?
So I got divorced in my Neptune square, and it was my Saturn opposition too.
Right.
But I remember there was this point where I thought, because, okay, so I have Neptune in Scorpio,
Mm,
and I think it was when Neptune was in Aquarius,
Aquarius.
Aquarius by Mercury. Um, I thought I was getting Alzheimer's. I would forget things or be like out. Yeah, it, mentally, I did not like Neptune squaring my Mercury. So,
Yeah, one of my astrologer friends just had it, and
hmm
we went to school together. And that is when she was wondering if she should keep her career path.
yeah. Ah, yes. Yeah, I changed
Mm.
jobs around that
Yeah,
time.
she didn't end up doing it, but that was the only time in the 10 years that I've known her that she was like, well, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Um, so it was very disorienting for her. And she ended up changing jobs, but she stayed in the same industry.
Ah, yeah, I switched industries, but it was such a great experience because I learned that I could be successful in something different after being in the same place for over for like 15 years. So it was actually a good experience. Selena says, oh, I know who you're talking about. You met my friend from Fairbanks. Yeah, come get a reading, Selena. That would be lovely. Yeah. Okay. Well, anything else you want to share about the book? I'm going to put a link to it in the show notes, or I think you shared so many
I
great
think I
things
shared a
about.
lot of things.
Yeah.
I guess the Venus chapter ended up being really long,
Ah,
longer than expected, because I'm Taurus rising, so I have a
yeah.
really strong connection with Venus. She rules my chart, and I include the morning and evening star
Ah,
Venus information there. Um, a little bit of the astronomy of every planet because I think it's important. Not so much about the mythology, and some people, and you might be, what? But I find the mythology to be just so negative a lot of the times. And So I focus a little bit more on how the astronomy relates to what the planet means. And so here I included like the Venus morning, evening star, and combust and all of that.
I love
Because
that.
I think it's really important to know what kind of Venus you have because it's a game changer for relationships,
Mm-hmm.
So I included that. Um, and just a lot of charts like that, a lot of examples. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I spoke a lot about, and what I say in this book is that it's you learn a lot of things just by osmosis. These are some of the illustrations.
Oh,
Um,
gorgeous.
yeah, it's really pretty. I got lucky with this publishing company, but you're obviously going to learn a lot from osmosis. But this book is not designed to be as an astrology book. It's designed to be your companion in life.
Mm.
To be, for example, oh, what's my age? 45, let's say, or 25. what happened when this and that and that. So you can look back and kind of figure out what was going on, what were the cycles that were happening. And then you figure out that, oh, okay, that this is what happened during my Saturn square, right? When will that happen again? How did that story develop? How can I become closer with that? Because the planets are inside of us. They're not outside. So that is what I would just, the last thing I would say. It's not designed, you will learn a lot by osmosis, but it's designed to help your mind wrap around the fact that everything is it's a part of a cycle.
It helps you with your evolution, I feel like.
100%. And you know, it's inclusive. I started with 7 because 7 is such an important Saturn number. And that's when you ask a lot of people, something really important in their lives happened when they were 7, you know, like the parents divorced or there was some situation or whatever, right? So I started at 7 and then I ended at 90. I wanted to be inclusive. And also I had a victim, more like my husband's dad, which is 90. So I had him as a kind of like a guinea pig with his chart because it's so exciting. Like he's going through, what is he having? He's 90, so he got married during his Uranus return, first of all.
At 84?
At 80, but it's part of the story, you know? It's part of, like, the wife is part of the story. Like, this Jupiter in Capricorn man would not retire. What took is the third wife. That's the Uranus, you know? So he's having that, and it's like insane. He's about to have the Neptune, and then a Pluto at the same time. It's like crazy. It's like, whoa, I've never seen that before. So I wanted to make sure that this book included anybody. And I really want people to understand that life doesn't finish at 60. In fact,
it better not.
Well, somebody told me that yesterday, and I was like, what?
Someone said life is over at 60. Yeah. 60 is when you have
like, well, you know, when you're 65, everything's over. I was like, no, it's not. No. Like,
no, some people are just getting going at that age.
Ideally, you live up to 84 to experience one of the most groundbreaking planetary activations, which is the Uranus return.
Yeah.
So all of that is in here, 7 to 90. You know, you can use it for your kids, for example. So yeah, that's kind of the last thing that I wanted to say. But thank you for making space for this. So,
oh well, thank you. This was so great. So remind people the title of it again.
It's called Written in Your Stars. Use your Saturn return, Pluto square, and other planetary cycles to become your best self. Oh, and the best part of it, I can't believe I forgot about this. Because this year is so crazy, 2024 and 2025, I wanted to give people something to look forward to. And so I created a Jupiter in Cancer guide, and I'm happy to send it to you, by the way.
Oh, please do. Yes.
I mean, I know that you're an astrologer, but
I love reading.
Yeah, this guide talks about a little bit of the last time that Jupiter was in Cancer, a horoscope for each sign. It has really practical tips on how to harness this energy because Jupiter is exalted in Aries. I went through the entire transit and kind of like snatch some of the bad dates for that. You know, it's going to square Saturn, it's going to square Chiron and all of that. And then what are the best times for manifestation? Because I think it's the best thing that we're going to get 100% and by far in these 2 years. So that is an instant download for anybody that pre-orders the book. It's a book pre-order incentive. I'm excited. That's when I got proposed.
When Jupiter was in Cancer? Beautiful.
Yeah. So
I love that.
Yeah, that's an instant download for anyone that pre-orders the book. So I would say start planning because it's going to be really good for fertility, as we know. It's going to be really good for personal growth. My favorite part about it all is that I feel like there's a restoration
Mhm.
of our bonds, because remember that during the 2020 pandemic, Jupiter was in Capricorn. So now
Mhm.
Jupiter is going to sit exactly across from that. So it's like all the separation that we experienced, all of the coldness. Well, it feels like Jupiter in Cancer is going to be like, let me fix that. You know,
People coming more together.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yes.
And I think that's a plus of what everything is happening, you know. And so Jupiter is going to be like, let's get together, you know, we're family, or just you're finding a tribe. It's good for love. Um, so I'm really excited for that, actually, because I think that I had a pretty good year. That was the last time that Jupiter was in Cancer. I think it was between, I have the dates, but it ended in 2014 or something like that. I
Mm.
have the dates in the guide. I have so many dates in my mind right now,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
so
Well, it was
yes,
12
it
years
was
ago,
12 years
approximately.
ago. Yeah, we need it. I feel like we really need it.
We do need it because we have a lot of changing energy. It's difficult times. I mean, Saturn and Aries is going to be. It's Saturn doesn't like to be there. It's like leaders are going to disappoint us. Well, we
I
already know
mean,
that, but
that's been happening already. I mean, not all the leaders, by the
not
way, because
all. But so, but Jupiter and Cancer is going to be like a bright spot.
and you
It's,
know the U.S. has a lot of cancer in the
hmm
chart. So
hmm
anyway, we could talk about that another time.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Narayana. I'll make you a collaborator so you can put this on your wall if you want, and I'll put a link to the book in the show notes so that people can pre-order, please. This wonderful, wonderful book. It will help you so much understand your life cycles and the time you're in, and help you track back to what was happening in previous cycles. So it's a really great
No,
resource.
thank
So
you. And I'm as soon as this was the only copy that I got right now, but they're starting to get shipped. So you know, to influencers, and I'm gonna 100% get you a copy. I'm gonna sign.
please do. Absolutely. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
You take care.
Oh, it didn't work. Oh well.
And I will see you soon. I
Oh
will
yeah.
send you some dates.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yay! Happy
Bye. This was
birthday.
so great to connect again. Bye.
Bye.